What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel where today we have another 3 round mock draft. This time we are going to be doing the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders only having 3 picks in the first 3 rounds. I believe their last pick is 68. And they have a couple of interesting needs here. Whereas we once thought that the Raiders would be interested in grabbing a quarterback, we now see that they have traded for a Geno Smith and are looking at making him their quarterback of the future. So, will they draft another quarterback with that first round pick? Who knows? I doubt it truly. I think that this is a situation where Shador was going to go in the top 6. He was probably going to go at 6. And now that he's not, he might fall out of, the top 10. He might fall out of the first round. I don't know. But you have a look at the other needs that the Raiders have. They lost their interior linebacker in Robert Spillane, picking up a Landon Roberts to take his place. Not quite the same player. He's much older. So they need some help at linebacker. On top of that, they lost Trayvon Moehrig. Kind of replaced him with Jeremy Chinn. I love Jeremy Chinn. Probably a good pickup for them. So let's see how that works out. They need major help at wide receiver. Jakobi Meyers can't do it by himself. Obviously, he has Brock Bowers, but you need another receiver out there helping Jakobi Meyers. So we're gonna see if we can get him some help, maybe. See how the board falls. Additionally, Raiders need some help at defensive interior. Not the greatest defensive interior out there. Along with that, not the greatest secondary out there. Needs some help at corner. Lost Nate Hobbs to the Packers. Quote unquote, replaced him with Eric Stokes, who has been dealing with injuries his entire career. So, we're going to see what we can do here. Gonna go right into it. Raiders, 3 rounds. And Ashton Gianti, for some reason, this draft simulator loves giving Ashton Gianti to the Jaguars. So we find ourselves in a pretty interesting position because of that. You have a couple of choices here. The first one I look at is Jahdae Barron. Really talented player, tested really well at the combine. Best corner, pure corner in the draft by far. Obviously not including Travis Hunter, but best pure corner in the draft so far. And I think he's really talented. He's definitely a guy that you want to play for, play in your secondary. He'll be a ball hawk. He will be incredible for you. But is he worth the sixth overall pick? Who can really say? On top of that, you have a guy like Tatora McMillan. I saw a report that said that Steve Smith doesn't believe that McMillan is the actual number 1 wide receiver in this class. I don't know how much I agree with it, but from what I've read, there are some thoughts that McMillan's route tree is very limited. He doesn't really, do anything too crazy. He's just a big body that you need to go out there and, make catches over guys. Kind of what a receiver does. But, that's why he's been kind of falling down a bit. He used to be like top 4 pick. Now people, don't value him as much. I'm also looking at a guy like Mason Graham, most talented defensive interior lineman in a very, very talented defensive line class. Easily somebody that you can give, to each and every team, and they would be instantly better. Probably a better pick for the Jaguars at 5. I'm not gonna lie to you, but if he's sitting here, we're definitely looking at him. And obviously, last but not least, the guy that's fallen down everybody's draft boards, it's gonna be Shador. He is not particularly talented at anything. His accuracy is very good. But as far as being a first round quarterback, I don't think that the talent is all the way there. So I don't really see the Raiders doing this, especially after grabbing Geno Smith. I think that they would much rather invest another pick in like a Jalen Milroe later on, even a Jackson Dart. You know, if he were to fall to a certain point where they'd want to maybe trade up. But for right now, we're going to be looking at Mason Graham. Most talented defensive interior. I'm going to keep saying it because it's true. Will help you immediately with your run game. He's also going to apply pressure to the quarterback. This is a scary dude in a scary defensive class. You're going to want a guy like this. Mason Graham goes to the Raiders. So now we have pick number 37. And immediately, it's so funny because when you see a guy like this, a guy that everybody is now viewing in his top, in their top, first round picks, Omarion Hampton is rising up everybody's draft ranks. And to see him fall to the Raiders here, this is probably a spot where I would probably be looking at an Alec Ayumanor or a Jack Beck. Alec Ayumanor, very talented, high football IQ, very, very big, 6'2", 210. He has all the makings of, a prototype ex-receiver in the NFL. Put him alongside Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. Give Geno somebody to build chemistry with. The same could be said with Jack Beck. You could go with another guy like Trey Amos, grab him at corner. There are a couple of different options here. But when Omarion Hampton, a guy who had two of the most impressive running back seasons over the last 2 years, and he's sitting here after being put into the first round, the Jaguars end up taking Ashton Gianti for some reason, and Omarion Hampton falls right into our lap. There's nothing that you can say, but the Raiders need a running back. Omarion Hampton is sitting right here. We're going to go ahead and draft him, and we're going to see what else we can do with our last pick. So, with pick number 68, see, and Cam Scatabo is still sitting here. It's not somebody that I would have hated going if he were to be sitting here. And I see here, Trey Harris just goes, Darian Porter just goes. Two players that I really love in this draft. If you guys know or heard anything about anything that I've said, big Jackson Dart guy also means I'm a big Trey Harris guy. Two very talented players, and Trey Harris I think would immediately improve the Raiders receiver room. Darian Porter I think would immediately improve the Raiders corner room. So now we have our running back solved. We grabbed a defensive interior. I really want to look at the receivers here. Obviously, you got Jalen Royals and Savion Williams. I think if this pick was a little bit later, you're probably looking at a Jalen Royals or a Savion Williams. But I just don't think using a pick 68 draft capital at this point is a good decision for the Raiders. So I do look at a guy like Benjamin Morrison, a guy who only played 6 games last year, dealt with some injuries, only gave up 12 receptions in 168 coverage snaps on 27 targets. They aren't the best stats, but he has forced a very high incompletion rate. It says so right there, 20.5%. He's a very explosive player, But again, the injury concerns are there for me. This is a situation where you could go another defensive lineman, take an edge, even take a lineman. But based off of where we find ourselves with the picks, obviously choosing Omarion Hampton in the second round kind of changes things a little bit. I am looking at a guy here like Benjamin Morrison. It's the only pick to me that really makes sense. Chris Paul, for linebacker, also makes sense to me. But I don't feel in my head that I can justify making that pick. I can feel like you're justified in making the pick on Benjamin Morrison based off of just his pure athleticism, his explosiveness, his ability to cover. If he isn't hurt, maybe you're looking at things a little bit differently. Maybe you're taking him a little sooner. Who knows? But Benjamin Morrison being here and looking at everything else that's around him, I feel like it's the best option. So Benjamin Morrison going to go to the Raiders. Going to be their third and final pick of this 3-round mock draft. Obviously trading one of them to the Seahawks for Geno Smith. Looking at the rating overall, PFF gives us an A+, A, and A-. So that's it for me. If you guys like this video and you guys want to see more videos like that, make sure that you smash the like button. Comment if you're new here. Subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.